Dragons, I'm back. So I'm here to do a bit of a quarterly wrap up. It's going to be a little bit late. This is going to go out mid-May. I don't normally film videos in May because my show's going up, but I have a little bit of time and I decided I want to actually put out content in May. So yeah, if you don't get full videos in May and you don't get full videos this month, it's mostly because my show is going up and I don't have enough time on Fridays to sit down and film. So this is like a shot in the dark. If you see more videos in the month of May, be happy that I'm filming them because May is always my most craziest month. It's also Escape the Readathon, which is always a bit chaotic. And then we head into June, which is a lot more chill for me because my show's over. But then it's also the Amazing Readathon, which is chaotic. So for the first 3 months, I read 60 books. I will say from like mid-February to like beginning of April, I was really dealing with a really bad reading slump. I was also sick for 2 months. So I had a lot going on that just kind of put reading on the back burner. But here are my stats, and then we're going to go over what books I kept, and I'm going to explain that. I read 60 books. I read an average of 19,404 pages. I read an average page count was 220 pages per day. My average page count was 323, but I did read some massive books. I read a ton of fantasy romance this year, which was the goal. I read 17 books with rep, 31 from authors I read before, and I hauled 31 books, which is not actually that bad. It's probably less. And again, I don't count my BookFest books because those I got for free, just like I don't count my ALA books. I only track the books that I bought or got sent to me, and those I don't consider that. I had 8 5-stars, 2 4.5, 18 4-stars, 24 3.5 stars, 5 3-stars for an average rating of 3.67. I read 16 new releases, 19 backlists, and 25 from last year. I read 24 physical books, 24 audio, 5 mixed media, and 7 ebook. So that is the stat. So I have a shelf that I keep the books that I think might be on my books I'm gonna love. And I keep them to the very end of the year, and then I do my best books of the year, and then they have a place of honor in my house. But I don't keep any of the other books that I read. I sell them on Pango, or I get rid of them, or I donate them. So yeah, let's say the books that have made the cut so far. These are my paperbacks that I wound up keeping. I wound up keeping Can't Spell Treason Without T. Delicate Escape definitely came out last year, but I just put it on here because I acquired it this month, and I got this from Barnes & Noble. It has the pretty edges. And then Broken Harbor, which I had devoured and loved. And then Beautiful Exile that I just read by Catherine Cowles. And this one definitely came out this year, which I loved. So these are my paperbacks of my romances and my, just my paperbacks that I really liked. These are all eligible for my favorite of the year. If I had to choose out of these, I would probably say I adored Broken Harbor probably the most. But yeah, these are my pretty pastel edges. Actually, this would be a great like Easter picture. Maybe I'll do that because the edges are so pretty. All right, now let's get on to the hardbacks that I have kept. So I also really liked The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith this year. This is my pretty Fairy Loot, which, oh my god, their books are so pretty. I really like this book. I gave this book 4.5 stars for review. I thought it was a really solid romantasy, like with light magic. It was very Fae-esque, but like light Fae-esque, and I loved it. It was very Bachelorette, very Bridgerton with subtle magic elements, and I just loved it. When I saw that this book was coming in my Fairy Loot, I knew I was going to keep it regardless because I really did enjoy this book, and I just love this cover. It's so pretty, and I was so happy that I will never get rid of my Fairy Loot because I just love their editions so much. I also really liked Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli. This was the final book in that series. I gave this book 4.75 stars. I think that this book struggled a little bit with pacing, but I had such a fun time with it. I like the characters. Definitely for me, because I had very strong feelings on the love triangle in book 1. I really did like book 2, and I was nervous that I wasn't. But other than the subtle pacing issues, I had a fun time with this book, and it gave this book 4.5 or 4.75 stars. Just struggled a little bit with the pacing. I also, again with the pacing, I also really did like Dagger in the Flame by Catherine Doyle. I had a little bit of issue with pacing in this story, but again, Fairy Loot hits their books out of the cover, and I just was devouring it. I also was reading this when I was sick, so maybe that was why I wasn't reading as quick. But I had a really, really fun time with this book. I think it's a very, very underrated fantasy. If you're looking for books with like a city setting, this I think would definitely count. And yeah, I'm happy that I got around to it. And then the book that broke me and I think put me in like a month and a half long reading slump is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I devoured this book. I know this book is super polarizing. I know a lot of people have not loved it. I really, really did. I think that this book was a slam dunk for me. I loved it and I devoured it. I really loved where this book went. I loved the ending. I never immersion read, but I immersion read the last 200 pages of this book, which like never happens. And I loved it. The dragons were back. It was very, very focused. It was a new type of story. And I had a great time and gave this book 5 stars, maybe even 6 stars if I gave out 6 stars. So that is where we are with that. Another special edition that I really, really liked was The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. If you like the Dream Harbor series but want a little bit more magic in your life, this is the perfect series. I love this book so much. I got this from Forbidden Wing. It's just a very, very pretty edition, and I love this. I would really like to listen to these eventually because I think that they will be quick listens. There is magical elements to the story, but it definitely gives me Dream Harbor vibes, and I had a fun time with it and gave it 5 stars. I'm really excited to read more in this series for the rest of this year. I also wound up reading Unraveled, which is the book 9.5 in the Keeper of the Lost City series by Shannon Messenger. This was an extended novella. It follows Keefe at the end, or as book 9 is taking place, and it follows his adventures, and I gave this book 4.5. This is very, very critical reading to that series, and I just love seeing books from Keefe's point of view, and I had a really, really fun time with this. It was a rather quick book as well, and I'm really excited for book 10 in the series because it's going to close it off, and I can't wait to see what this author writes next and how the story ends. And then I also read House of Bane and Blood by Alexis Almenard, which these pretty straight edges, I broke down and bought these after Bree from Four Paws in a Book like told me that they existed because I needed them, and I really did like this series. I gave this book 4 stars for review. I felt that for the action-packed stories it was a little bit too slow paced for me, but I really, really liked it. So it's very much like mafia. It is very much steampunk, and I had a fun time with it and gave it 4 stars. So I bought 2 editions. I might not keep my paperback, but I do have my tabs in it. So that is where this book came from. And yeah, I also read Fear the Flames by Olivia Rose Darling, and I had a great time with this book. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I felt like because this was an indie book and it got traditionally published, there was a lot of stuff that got cut out, and because of that, I think that the writing style did not work when they like edited so heavily, because I felt like it was a lot of jumpy characters, but I had a fun time with this book. I just got the audiobook. I want to reread it before book 2 comes out this summer, but I had a really, really fabulous time with this book as well. So the next book that I really, really loved was All the Missing Pieces by Catherine Cowles. This is probably my favorite hate tomorrow romance she's ever done. It's a standalone. It is her first book published exclusively by Source Books, and I love this book so, so much. I thought that this was the first book that really did hate tomorrow in a way that I like it. Like 50% into this book, they were still bantering, and I just enjoyed it so much. It has a podcast element, so if you are on team podcasters this year for Escape, I would highly recommend this book. It's a really, really fun one. And then my first book of the year and my first book that I devoured was Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson, and I love this book. Gave it 5 stars. This is definitely going to be on my top reads of the year list. I loved how I tabbed this. It came out perfectly. But yeah, this is a 1923 World War II story, but there are dragons, and I just devoured this. If you like Babel, I think you should check this book out. I haven't read it, but it has similar vibes, code breaking, and I really hope we get a sequel. So yeah, those are all the books that I kept. I read 60 and I kept about 10. And yeah, I would love to hear what you have read in the first quarter that you think could possibly make your end of the year list. And not all of these will be on that list, but they're books that I really wanted to keep for various reasons. A lot of these are stunning, but yeah, let me know in the comments what you did the first quarter. And also focusing on entertainment, I went to BookFest at Barnes & Noble, which was super fun. I rewatched the entire Big Bang Theory. And yeah, that's really all that I did, like entertainment wise, that I think was standoffish, but standoutish. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what is your top book of the year? If I had to choose right now, I'd probably say this was my favorite physical book, and this was my favorite audiobook, and also Onyx Storm. So those three are probably my top books right now that could in theory make an end of the year list, but those three I think stand out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.